This is the town of Bundy in the state of Bundy, where the traditions of yesterday have established an unchanged pattern of life for today. In fact, there are few places left on the face of the earth where one may see a panorama of existence that so vividly relives the past as it does here in Bundy, one of the last strongholds of feudal times in ancient India. In Bundy, the stage was set for this pageantry of life long before Columbus discovered America. And unless the new dominion of India interferes, there appears to be nothing in the present plans of the village fathers that could possibly suggest a departure from the mode of living that was established here in the year of 1342. In spite of their allegiance to the past, however, the people of Bundy are of a contented nature, and their humble wants appear to be satisfied with a minimum amount of trouble and confusion. They are still loyal to their Maharajah, and they still look to him for his advice and guidance, even though the new government of India has deprived him of his former power. Unlike many of the more prosperous states in India, where begging is a profession, we saw no evidences of abject poverty in Bundy, and at no time during our visit were we accosted by a beggar. The people of Bundy seldom see visitors from beyond the borders of their own state, and being off the beat of the main traffic, they have not yet been discovered by tourists from the outside world. Although the custom of purdah, which requires a woman to keep her face covered in public, is no longer compulsory in Bundy, many of the women still practice it, and it naturally arouses our curiosity to know what the faces look like behind the veils. On the side of the hill in the old feudal style stands the ancient palace of His Highness, the Maharajah of Bundy, who very cordially invites us to visit him. Our entrance to the palace is by way of this old wooden gate, and as we climb laboriously up the steep cobblestone roadway that leads to our destination, we pause occasionally to catch our breath and admire a few exterior views of the palace. And finally, we come to an elephant-arched gateway leading into a courtyard, from which we ascend a series of stairs to the inner sanctum, where we meet His Highness, the Maharajah of Bundy. On this occasion, His Highness happens to be celebrating his 31st birthday, and we are fortunate to be among his guests, for he is a perfect host and an ideal entertainer. Although he has had the benefit of an Occidental education and has traveled extensively abroad, he still upholds the age-old traditions, manners, and customs of Bundy. And for this, he is genuinely loved and respected by his subjects, even though the new Dominion government has shorn him of his former power. Before leaving Bundy, we visit a religious shrine that has been a habitat for wild monkeys for centuries. After sprinkling a few handfuls of tiny seeds upon the ground, we are literally besieged by the whole monkey colony. Look closely and you will see an occasional baby monkey clinging to its mother. For some reason or other, monkeys play an important part in the religious life of India, and even temples of worship, such as this one, have been erected in their name. But now we must leave the charming old state of Bundy and travel over the road that leads to Jaipur, a neighboring state. The traffic we pass en route is typical of rural India, where machinery of a modern nature is practically unheard of, and farm life is the same today as it has been for centuries. If plans of the new government materialize successfully, however, the farms of India are due for a modern facelifting, along with many other innovations. And now we arrive at the pink city of Jaipur, capital of Jaipur state, which was founded in 1728 by the mathematician and astronomer Jai Singh, who aspired to make it the most wonderful city in India, and succeeded at least in making it the most colorful. No animal in Jaipur is more privileged than the sacred cow. She is the mistress of all she surveys, and if she chooses to go walking down Main Street, that's her business, and nobody dares to interfere. Her father and brothers also have the same privilege, but they are not entitled to the same respect in the category of Hindu religion. The buildings here are all painted in a uniform color, a rose pink, which reflects a soft and fascinating light. This odd-looking edifice is known as the Palace of the Winds because it was especially designed to catch the breezes from all directions. Perhaps no traffic policeman in the world has had the job of guiding a more conglomerate assortment of traffic than this one, and he performs his duties very seriously. In addition to being purely Oriental in its atmosphere, Jaipur is one of the cleanest and most prosperous cities in ancient India. And here we behold the palatial estate of His Highness, the Maharajah of Jaipur. All this display goes back to the days when ancient India was ruled by powerful Mughal emperors and Maharajas, who determined the way of life for almost a third of the human race. They were great builders of palaces, such as this one at Amber, the former capital of Jaipur, which is now a deserted city and no more than an attraction for tourists who come here from all parts of the world. There are several of these deserted cities throughout India, which were built at an enormous cost and then suddenly abandoned by the whim of an extravagant ruler who apparently enjoyed the thrill of building new cities and new palaces. After a tour of this fantastic palace, we return to the elephants that carried us up to it and start our journey down the road that leads us back to Jaipur. Riding downhill on the back of an elephant may look thrilling from a theater seat, but it really requires a pretty good constitution to take it, as the swaying movement of the elephant has the effect of a rolling ship at sea. And it is here that we most reluctantly say farewell to ancient India.